Welcome to Tennisspin, where we put our spin on your tennis. Today, I'm going to be answering some of your questions that you've emailed me. So stay tuned. All right, guys, so a bunch of you guys have emailed me, and I'm actually going to answer some of these on air because I think that everybody would benefit from listening to these questions and me answering some of these questions. Okay. All right. So this one is from Anonymous. Okay. Could you do a video explaining all the racket strung specifications that are associated with tennis rackets? For instance, I recently purchased a new Pure Drive and spec stated power level was low medium, with an RA at 71, and every review I've seen as well as playing with it confirms this stick has some serious power to it. Yet it's considered low to medium by Babolat. What's up with that? All right, so here's the thing about these Pure Drives and those 100 square inch type of rackets. If you think about it this way, the softest racket on the market today on that RA scale is a Clash, right? It's 47 on that scale. And so let's say it starts at 47 and it ends at, 90, 80 something, right? On 100. So it's a 1 to 100 point scale. So if your softest racket is a Clash at 47, it used to be kind of in the 50s. Right? And a Pure Drive, which is 71, is considered low medium, right? If you think about it that way, because what I tell people is on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the softest racket, 10 being the stiffest racket, like a Pure Drive is kind of like a 4.5, right? Wouldn't most of you agree with me? Like a profile being like a 9 and a wooden racket being a 1, right? Pure Drive would probably land in the 4.5 range. So that's kind of where they are gauging that racket. Although it may feel powerful to you, in the overall scheme of things, it's medium to low power. So hopefully it answered that for you. Okay, next one from Elia. There are many clay courts out here in Europe. There are many indoor hard courts as well, but almost every open air court is clay. So is there any point to have special clay balls? And are these balls any better compared to regular balls like US Open by Wilson? Me and my friends enjoy watching your channel. You didn't post today. Okay, well, sorry. Thank you. Sorry, I had some glitches that day when you emailed me, so we couldn't download that day, so there was a delay. But to your question, Elia, balls. So there are special balls for clay. They call them clay court balls. They call them all court balls. So a regular duty felt ball would actually work on your clay surface. What you don't want for a clay surface is an extra duty ball. So what's the difference between a regular and an extra? Well, the duty, the extra. No, just kidding. Anyways, it's the felt. It's the amount of felt. There's a lot more felt in an extra duty ball. So it's going to pick up way more clay than you want it to, making it a heavier ball over time. So the regular duty felt is less clay. It goes through the air a little faster because there's less felt, and it's not going to pick up more clay along the way. So play with a clay ball, play with an all court ball, or play with a regular duty felt ball. So yes, don't play with an extra duty felt. I don't know if they actually have those in Europe, but don't play with an extra duty felt ball. So next question is from Gene in Ottawa, Canada. Excuse me, Ottawa, Canada, the coldest capital city in the world, according to Gene here. Okay, so Gene says, I just finished watching your video on string gauge and wondered how all that relates to gut strings, which I use, vis-a-vis spin, power, durability. I think it might make an interesting video. So yes, you know, I've used gut for a good part of my younger life, and I played with 17, obviously. I played with 16. I even played with that tonic in the 15 light. And I mean, aside from, gut's gut in my mind. 17 obviously is going to play a little better. It's going to give me a little more spin. It's going to lose tension a little faster though. So I've kind of resorted to using the 15 light just to buy myself some more time and some more tension maintenance. So it does reign true. The thicker a string is, whether it's gut, poly, or synthetic, that it will hold tension a little longer at a thicker tension. So I think it's pretty much across the board that, you know, a thinner gauge will give you a little more spin, be a little livelier, snap back a little more, because when the string is thinner, right, there's less for it is easier for it to slide back and forth when it's thinner on thinner. So, but thicker is going to definitely give you more tension maintenance, and you know, but gut's going to give you that great feel anyways, no matter what gauge you use. So try the 15 light. I bet you you'll still like it, right? 15 light. And then he also asked about Tad Davis Imperial rackets as well as Bancroft rackets. And he was asking me, what is the modern day equivalent to these? Geez, that's a tough question, because those are wooden rackets. I would say a Dunlop CX200 Tour with the leather grip, 18 by 20 would be close. Prestige by Head in the mid would be close. Possibly a Pro Staff 97 in the Roger or non-Roger would be close. I'm looking at the wall behind. But yeah, try those. But try that CX200 Tour 18 by 20. I think you'll enjoy it. That's as close to a modern day Tad Davis as you're gonna get. And then Gene also asked me if I knew what happened to Bancroft and Tad Davis. I quickly looked to see if I could find anything out, but I couldn't really find out what happened to those companies. Tad Davis was actually a California company, but it was like from the 20s and the 30s. So don't know what happened to them. I'll try to find out, and maybe I can do that on another video. Bancroft was around until the 70s. As soon as wood kind of started going away, Bancroft kind of went away. I feel like they are still around in a different form, because I have seen them at like Tennis Warehouse. So, but again, I got to do a little more research on that. Thank you, Gene. Stay warm. All right, next question from Coach Dave. Thanks. Keep up the good work. My high school kids start practice in a few months. I hope. Yeah, we all hope. How about a video on rackets for high school kids who have 1, never played, 2, played a couple of years, 3, been playing and taking lessons for a number of years. Every year I tell them, don't go to a big box store and spend money on aluminum rackets. We can do better. Your used racket video was excellent. On the web or at the real tennis store or at a website, but they never listen. All right, Coach Dave, this one's for you. So you can definitely get a good racket at a big box store. You're probably going to pay a specialty price, because we're all kind of governed by the racket companies. So you can get a blade at the store, you get a strike at the store, you get a pure drive at the store. But if you're only going to play during tennis season and it's not your primary sport, you can definitely get them like at an aftermarket kind of a place like eBay, or spend $100 at maybe your local store has a used bin. We used to here for $100 you can get an older pure drive, an older Arrow, older Ultra perhaps. Maybe look into something like that, or sometimes Craigslist in your area, good sources for used rackets also. So if you've never played before, definitely get a good racket for yourself, whether it's secondhand or not. You can easily save money on tennis rackets. Okay, thanks, Coach Dave. All right, so next one from Roland J. Barber. Okay, subject is 48-pound tensions. I see your favorite tension is 48 pounds. Does that hold true regardless of string type, poly versus gut versus natural? When you say find your tension, is the implied reality that you have to find your string type as well? Can you play well with natural gut at 48? If poly at 48 is your string, why wouldn't you play natural gut at 53 instead? I'm not suggesting you should, but just wondering. The heart of the question, how do different types of strings different after compensating with tension and their stiffness and differences? I currently play Blade 93 BLX Amplifield, but I'm looking to upsize the racket head as 93 demands. I play high energy attack tennis, but I enjoy more of a relaxed counterpuncher play that lets me keep my emotional composure. I enjoy natural gut around 48 to 50 in it, but wondering about the attributes of an all poly setup around 45. Okay, cool. All right, so 48 tension. The reason I string at 48 is because I know what 48 should feel like. Therefore, I do 48 across the board, whether it's gut, synthetic, or poly. So I understand that how a poly will feel versus a synthetic, which will feel probably maybe a hair softer, but I know it'll hold tension a little longer versus a gut. So here's the thing about my 48 though. I use it for testing a lot. Therefore, I need to feel at home with that tension. Most of the time, I hit it within 24 hours when I string it, especially when I'm testing. Therefore, I know like within that 24 hours if it's actually holding tension without me playing with it, and if it's soft. Because if I'm jacking up my tensions and lowering my tensions, I'd probably be searching all the time like, ooh, what's that? What's wrong with that? But at a constant tension, I know what it should, or what I like, what it really should feel like. So that's why I do it at 48. I know, though, that it will lose tension fairly quickly, especially on a poly. So I gauge it for that also. So down the road, I know that 2 weeks later, that 48 is going to be, essentially 44 or 43 or 42. But I also gauge how a string, the string's tension maintenance is too on that 48. So I don't know if that answered your question, but that's why my tension is 48 regardless of what string it is. Now, as for your BLX Amplifield 93, definitely try a poly setup. Try Confidential, Solinco Confidential at 45, 16L, the 125 gauge, and see how you like it. That's definitely not a counterpuncher racket that you got there. You're right, it is an attack racket, and you should be swinging for the fence all the time. That poly, that Confidential string should allow you to be a little bit more of a, I'd say it wouldn't. You're going to have to still swing for the fence all the time with that poly. What you have to do if you want to be a counterpuncher is ramp up the head. You know, either try a blade 98, 1820, because I think yours is an 1820, or even like a, man, your weight is pretty heavy there. Pro Staff 97, right? The regular 11 ouncer. Then you can be a little bit more of a counterpuncher. But this little head is probably not going to allow for you to do that. So I would suggest maybe ramping up in head size. But try the string, see how you like it. But in order for you to be a counterpuncher, you should probably stick with that gut that you got. All right. Thank you for your question there, Roland. Hope that helped. All right. So if you guys got any other questions, shoot them over to me. Okay. Tennisspin review at gmail.com. It's in my about page. All right. So guys, if you want to support the channel, check out my merch. Check out my website, tennisspinusa.com. So thank you for watching Tennisspin, where we put our spin on your tennis.